Welcome back to our YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being part of our show. As always, I just want to thank you. I don't take that support for granted. It seems we would be going back to the Machozi Mondays and the Machozi Tuesdays because Kenyans are very tired. Sometimes I thought that it is only Raila who could whip the people to go to the streets. But then it seems that after Raila halted the urge to go to the streets, he decided, if you feel that the shoe is pinching you, then go to the streets. And that is what I saw today. I have never seen such numbers because Kenyans don't want to sit down and see things going down in the wrong trajectory. The very people who received William Ruto during the 2022 campaigns are especially the youth who are now rejecting William Ruto. One person who has been given the mandate to deal with those who are demonstrating is Kithure Kindiki. And Kenyans have decided that internet does not lie. And they've taken it upon themselves to remind Kithure Kindiki that the shoe is now on the other side of the foot. There was a time when Kithure Kindiki was in the Tanga Tanga movement when Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto had fallen out and their differences were almost irreconcilable. And Ruto had his people, Uhuru Kenyatta remained with his people. And Kithure Kindiki was Senate Majority Leader, if I'm not wrong. He had a position in the Senate, and they wanted to kick him out of that position. And he decided he was not going to go down silently. And Kithure Kindiki gave a warning that has remained a trademark. Anytime people go to the streets and William Ruto supporters and leaders who support him try to oppress people, they are reminded. In this video they have revived it. It's trending and I know you have seen it. But I never tire. I don't get tired of watching it. Where he is warning that there was a time that the people of Burkina Faso were so much oppressed and depressed and despondent at the same time. And what did they do? They decided to go and ban their parliament. And when the president of Burkina Faso, the then president, thought it was a joke, he realized it was serious and he flew. But according to the prevailing political circumstances then, Kithure Kindiki predicted that was the same fate that would befall Uhuru Kenyatta. Right now, Uhuru Kenyatta is not in power. It is William Ruto who is in power. And many people, replayed this clip. And they are telling William Ruto that Kithure Kindiki, a man who knows the Bible. By the way, Kithure, his other name is Abraham, the father of faith. Kithure knows quite a lot of scriptures. Anytime he speaks, he seems to quote the Bible. And people are telling William Ruto that your closest ally, Abraham Kithure Kindiki, a man who was supposed to be your running mate, predicted long your downfall. Because the very things that Kithure Kindiki was talking about are now happening in the Ruto regime. People are tired, people are depressed, people are despondent. And when you are leading people who are disparate, their reactions can also be very disparate. And that's why you see people in the street. Listen once again to Abraham Kithure Kindiki.
The kind of anger we have caused in this country, I dread, God forbid, is the kind of anger that made the citizens of Burkina Faso to burn down parliament. And when the president of Burkina Faso, that was 3 years ago, I'm not talking about prehistory. When the president of Burkina Faso had the parliament is in flames, he fled. His name is Blaise Compaoré. That's how he was voted out of office, by fire. Mr. Speaker, history is replete with strong generals and powerful kings and monarchs who have been brought down by the power of the people. And Mr. Speaker, today I want to remind them of a man called Belshazzar, a man who God favored to be king in the book of Daniel. Instead of being grateful that God has honored you among so many millions of citizens to be their leader, he entertained a government that was so divisive, so oppressive, and he did a big party and called all the important men whose fathers and mothers were important people at that time. And the Bible says he made a feast. And he entertained them in that feast, and even went on to commit sacrilege by using the utensils that had been taken from the temple to commit and drink the drink of fornication using the vessels taken from the temple. Mr. Speaker, as they were enjoying, as they were making merry, as the deep state was celebrating, as the system was celebrating, suddenly, and I say suddenly, there is going to be a war in this country.
Now, as the Kenyans were reminding our very own man Abraham Kithure Kindiki, the only person who many Kenyans believe is exercising some sobriety in Ruto's government, people feel that Abraham Kithure Kindiki was not supposed to be given the interior docket. He is a polished lawyer. In fact, an international lawyer. He was with Ruto at The Hague, and then he has stuck with William Ruto to date. And as people were reminding him of that clip, Nairobi CBD was a no-go zone, and people did not go there to take selfie. People did not go there to play some games. People went there to demonstrate against the UDA government, to demonstrate against the punitive taxes.
Sasa tuko hapa kwa maandamano Haya, wale watasema siku kuwa mimi ndio huyu Bradley Ouna. Nimejoin wenzangu hapa Nairobi. Hapa Kaliki panachimbika, tia gas kila mahali.
Now, if you ask me, you will all agree with me that William Ruto is under siege. Apart from the fact that he controls the security apparatus, Ruto is not with the people, and the people are not with him. And Abraham Kithure Kindiki had predicted well that if William Ruto is not careful, this will be the beginning of his downfall. Kenyans are hungry and angry at the same time. Life has become so unbearable. Did you know that there are people who cannot afford 2 meals in a day? You might not believe this because maybe God has blessed you, you can afford 3 meals in a day. But there are people who are really suffering. I know of some people whose houses were demolished. They are not landlords but tenants. They rented houses that were apparently built on riparian land. They don't have a place to live. It goes without saying that if you don't have a place to live, even food is hard to come by. These are the people who voted for William Ruto, because William Ruto gave them a name, a hustler. They were hustlers. And William Ruto was supposed to be the chief hustler, the prefect of all of them. But now they have been neglected and they have been abandoned into oblivion. And that is why you saw the masses there. Things are going the wrong way. Economically speaking, Ruto has scored zero. And sometimes I see records that, I don't know, IMF is saying that Kenya is growing. And I'm wondering, what kind of growth are they talking about? Because even a non-economist like me would see investors running away from the country. There is no way an economy could be growing or can be growing, yet we don't attract and retain investors. These are the people who create employment. There is no way an economy can grow if we are not creating employment. We are not even retaining the ones that we have, because an employer closes a company or a farm, then about 10 or 20 people have been rendered jobless. The people who were depending on them are in an economic quagmire. So about 10 companies closing down, if if the companies had employed an average of 10 people, how many people are those? Then you try to look at the people who depend on them, the people who maybe for school fees, food, and just maintenance. It is not very easy. And William Ruto can no longer rely on fallacy. Kenyans are tired. They don't believe him anymore. And that's why Kithure is saying one day Kenya might decide to ban the parliament. Unfortunately, when Kenyans, I pray that we don't get there. But if at all it gets there, the very person who predicted the inferno will be the person who will be trying to keep people at bay. Times flies so fast, and politics is really dynamic. The very Ruto and Kithure Kindiki and that group, Kimani Ichung'wah, who said they will not raise taxes, who criticized Uhuru Kenyatta, are now at the center of it all. And I believe that either the government must change or Kenyans must resist, because the two cannot go together. This government is full of itself. And let me tell you something. The only problem with William Ruto are two things. Listening to the international community, listening to IMF. If William Ruto would just decide today that I'll be listening to the people who, in quotes, elected me, I will listen to their predicaments and I will implement what they want, William Ruto will just be a good man. We would even forget that elections were rigged. The only reason why people still feel very sad about the election malpractices is because people feel that maybe if Raila was in town, if Raila was on that seat, things would be different. I'm saying would be different because we have not tested Raila, but I believe he could be a better president. I don't know what you think, but the kind of demonstrations that we saw and the predictions of Kithure Kindiki go together. One day,